What's good here is Wrestle King here, and today we're going to be discussing the go home show of this episode of Friday Night Smackdown. We're going to go over the key points of what happened. We're going to jump straight into it. Today's episode starts off with the KO show. KO basically just introduced the crowd, talks about his match at Mania. Didn't really say much. He hypes up the crowd. Introduced Randy Orton. Randy Orton eventually comes out to the ring, and then they're basically, joking around somewhat about Logan Paul and their match. Then Kevin Owens asked the question about how he basically asked Randy, how much do you hate um Logan Paul. Randy was basically about to respond, but then Logan Paul comes out on a Titantron. He comes out laughing. He's in the building next. He's in the building. He's in the WrestleMania building, which is literally across the street from the Smackdown stadium. Logan Paul says KO and Randy are two toddlers in a sandbox while he's a dime. Says he's in the real world creating empires, and while he's talking, the Philly crowd is basically saying what over and over. After he says he's in the real world creating empires, he stops and pauses because the Philly crowd keeps saying what, and then he tells the Philly crowd to shut up and that they are idiots. Says they are wasting their time on a KO show, and says he's always too. And he says he always too. My fault. I'm mispronouncing my word. He says they are wasting their time on the KO show, and he's always two steps ahead of them. I'm already here in the stadium preparing myself for Mania, thinking about how I'm already retaining my championship. KO responds and says, "This guy talks a lot of crap for being in a stadium that's across the street." Randy agrees. They both look at each other. Randy says, "Are you thinking what I'm thinking?" KO says yes. They exit the ring, go towards the crowd, and they're basically finna go towards the stadium that Logan Paul is supposed to be in, since it's across the street. Then we get Austin Theory and Grayson Waller come from under the ring and chase after Kevin Owens and Randy Orton. Then we get KO and Randy. They're trying to find a vehicle to go across the street. If it's across the street, you could just run there, but trying to find a vehicle. KO finds a golf cart. They start the golf cart and they drive off. And then Austin Theory and Grayson Waller tries to chase after them. Next up, we get the Andre Giant Battle Royale. This really doesn't mean anything. I'm not going to really go over because this doesn't really mean anything. And this was kind of, I'm not going to say, the beginning of it was very cringe and very unfunny. It was trying to be funny, but I just don't get it. They start off with Omos and Pretty Deadly. Pretty Deadly tried to take out Omos and try to get everyone to help, but no one helps them. They're just all standing there, which I don't understand, because they mentioned on commentary how Pretty Deadly don't have any friends, but that doesn't make sense because some of the people were on Raw and some of the people didn't even interact with Pretty Deadly. So it doesn't make sense for them not to really help, or to them not like them. Don't really make sense, but to try to play a joke, it wasn't really that funny. He eliminates them both. Then Omos eventually gets eliminated by eliminating himself by accident. JD Madonna does end up costing Ricochet the match. He ends up interfering, but then he ends up getting eliminated by Tozawa, hilariously. So I'm assuming they're going to continue that feud, which I don't understand why that's even a feud, because it's just random. Like, it just popped up out of nowhere because Ricochet doesn't do anything to Judgment Day, and he's not going after none of their titles. So I don't really understand why there's a feud, but it seems like they're going to continue that. The final four ends up being Ivar, Bronson Reed, Otis, and Akira Tozawa. I was actually rooting for Bronson Reed because I like Bronson Reed. I think he has a lot of potential. He's good in the ring. He's good on the microphone if they give him opportunity. But he won the match. This match means nothing. We already know it means nothing, but it was a nice little win. Nothing much to really say here. Next up, we got the Karrion Kross. He had a little vignette. Karrion Kross says, he immediately cut straight to the promo. He said, let's cut the Shakespeare and let's get straight to the chase. He says he targeted Lashley to teach him humility. And he mentions how last year WWE had nothing for him at Mania, but he said the truth is they just didn't want him. He mentions and he ends up saying that he ends up, I don't know if he was mocking Lashley, but basically he was basically saying, he basically started pretending to cry and, starts complaining basically how Lashley was complaining, and he ends up saying, cry me a river. He ends up saying, do you know what happened to our opportunities? Gone over issues that had nothing to do with them. Should I have cried with you and held your hand? Then he ends up saying that at Mania, he ends up mentioning that my fault, I'm getting my things mixed up. He ends up saying, should I have held your hand and cried with you? Then he ends up saying that he's the reason why he's able to be at Mania to have a match, because he's basically carried this feud, which is, I'm going to be honest, which is true. Which is very true. No offense. Karrion Kross is the most interesting thing about this feud, and he's not even that interesting. And I actually like Karrion Kross. Karrion Kross is a decent talker, but this feud has been, I'm just going to say, it's been bad because it's been the same thing over and over. But Karrion Kross is kind of the reason why he has something to do, because if Karrion Kross wasn't here, I don't know what Bobby Lashley would do. I really don't. But that's basically the end of it, and basically said they're going to win at Mania. Next up, we got Logan Paul. He has a promo segment. He comes out that he was in the other stadium, but he ends up leaving before, Randy and KO got there. So he comes out, he insults the crowd. I'm not going to say what he said because they was very weak insults, very weak. This is one of Logan Paul's worst promos, like one of his worst promos. Like, this was not good at all. But he ends up saying, they got me wrestling two of the dumbest dudes in WWE. Randy Orton, his head the size of an elephant, but the brain of a peanut, and KO using all of his brain cells to see how he's going to digest his next meal, while it consists of roadkill and rubber tires. Oh my God, we're doing fat jokes. Okay. But then he ends up saying, but me, I'm a mastermind. I'm playing 4D chess. Right now, his associates, Austin Theory and Grayson Waller, are about to ambush KO and Randy. And he says he got eyes on him. He shows on the Titantron, and it shows Grayson Waller and Austin Theory. Grayson Waller and Austin Theory can't find Randy Orton and Kevin Owens. Turns out, KO and Randy are back in the Smackdown stadium, and they come from underneath the ring staring Logan Paul. Logan Paul finally realizes that KO and Randy are, outside the ring. Logan Paul tries to escape, but KO gets him. KO gets him in the ring, and they both hit their finishers on him, and that's really it. Nothing else to explain. They hit their finishers and get the upper hand on him. Dragon Lee gets attacked backstage. We don't know who attacked him, but eventually I think we're going to know who attacked him based on another segment that's going to happen later on. Dragon Lee gets attacked. Carlito is there. Rey Mysterio and Zelina is asking who did it. Carlito said he didn't see, he doesn't know, but he just said it has to be Santos because that's the only thing that makes sense logically. And then they cut away to the next upcoming match, which is Zelina Vega and Elektra Lopez. Zelina Vega has Rey Mysterio by her side that came out, and Elektra Lopez comes out with Dominic Mysterio, Santos Escobar, and Andrade. Of course, when heels have the upper hand, when they have more people by their side, it's going to end in shenanigans. Zelina Vega ended up getting the upper hand on Elektra. She was about to get the 1-2-3, but Dominic interfered. Zelina takes out Dominic. Elektra Lopez takes advantage and ends up winning the match. Santos and Dominic end up jumping Rey Mysterio, and Elektra Lopez jumps Zelina Vega. Andrade, Dominic and Santos was basically encouraging Andrade to jump Rey Mysterio. Andrade ends up attacking, turning babyface, which I think he was already a babyface because they was trying to do the whole Judgment Day thing, but he wasn't really acting like a heel. It was kind of forced, I'm just going to be honest, but he ends up attacking Santos and Rey, teaming up with Rey Mysterio. And it looks like they're going to, we already know by now that Andrade will be replacing Dragon Lee. Bianca Belair, now we get the next segment. It's going to be Bianca Belair and Naomi. They come out to the ring, have a little promo. Bianca says everyone knows she has the longest history with Judgment Day and mentioned their 2-year feud. She says that she mentions how she wanted to give up. until Naomi came back and reminded her why she is fighting. Says it's time to finally put an end to the Judgment Day. Naomi and Bianca kind of joked around how they got beat up last week on SmackDown, and then Bianca says Damage Control got a little too cocky because they wasn't expecting their new member, mentioning Jade Cargill. Introduces Jade Cargill. Jade Cargill makes her really cool entrance, and then Jade Cargill in the ring didn't say much, but she ends up she ends up thanking Judgment Day because she says this gives her the chance to showcase her dominance at Mania at the biggest stage. And says with the big three referring to themselves, Jade, Naomi, and Bianca, they're going to show why there's no Damage Control. I don't know what they was trying to do there because Bianca and Jade was saying it at the same time, and they was trying to say it like that was a bar. It wasn't. It wasn't that impressive, but sure. And ends up saying that, and then she ends up finishing the promo off saying, "Now they are in the eye of the storm." Not really much. Not really much to really go off of. A little quick little promo, nothing special. Next up, we get a backstage segment between Rey Mysterio, Selena Vega, and they're talking backstage. And no, Andrade was back there too. The referee comes out and ends up saying that Dragon Lee will not be at Mania. He won't be medically cleared. Andrade ends up saying, I will replace him at Mania if you want me to. Rey Mysterio agrees. Carlito comes, ends up mentioning how Dragon Lee won't be there at Mania. He's not going to be medically cleared. And then Rey ends up telling Carlito that Andrade will replace him. And then Carlito waited. He didn't immediately respond. He hesitated a bit for a good 3 to 4 seconds. And then played it off and says, "Oh, that's great. Let's get this," basically cheering them on, saying, you got to defeat Rey and Santos. Santos and Dominic. I think they are showing a potential heel turn here. And if they are, I think they should do it at Mania. They're showing, because I think Carlito was the one that probably attacked Dragon Lee. So it looks like they are showing signs of a heel turn here, which I am kind of interested because Carlito as a heel is way better than him being a face. Next up, we got Austin Theory and Grayson Waller, the New Catch Republic. Okay match, nothing special. New Catch Republic catch to victory. Then the Judgment Day interfere in the match. Comes out. Well, they didn't interfere in the match. They interfere after the match. Comes out and basically attack everyone in the match and stand tall. Nothing else to really go off there. LA Knight comes out. And then we get the LA Knight promo. He comes out to the ring. He says, 2 nights. And I'm feeling fresh. And I walk in with a man some call the Phenomenal One. He says, I think you are phenomenal. Phenomenal in running. Phenomenal in not showing up. This Sunday, you're going to be phenomenal for getting stomped out. Bye. And then when he says bye, he ended up botching his words, I'm assuming. Because it looked like he kind of choked on his gum, or his gum was interfering with his words. But then he ended up saying bye to one they called a megastar. He said, no more time for running, only time for crying. Go ahead, grab your crying towel since all you've been doing is crying about LA Knight. When you should be thanking me since I'm the reason people are interested in you. And then he does his typical, LA Knight catchphrases with the yeah and with everyone streaming my name. It says basically he's going to stomp out AJ Styles. Next up we get a quick vignette with the Pride, which is weird because on social media they call themselves the Pride, but on TV they don't call themselves the Pride. Which one is it? Are they the Pride or not the Pride? I don't understand what's so hard with just calling them the Pride, because on social media, when you look up everything, they're called the Pride, but on TV they keep calling them Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits. I don't understand it, but Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits have a quick vignette. It starts off with B-Fab saying it's been the same thing over and over again, attacking them, basically how they keep attacking them over and over and over again. But she says this Sunday there's nowhere to hide and they're going to finish them. Bobby Lashley says you wanted to take this to the dark side and now we're going to finish it. Nothing really special here. You kind of get the theme of this SmackDown that basically nothing really progresses and nothing is really that interesting and nothing really moves the needle in these feuds. You kind of get the point of this SmackDown. We get the main event. the Jay versus Solo, we already knew how this was going to end. Jimmy interferes, of course. Cody and Seth then comes out to make the save, of course. Cody, in the middle of them attacking Solo and Jimmy, so Cody takes off his belt, which is very similar to the belt that The Rock had. So either he got the same belt, assuming that maybe The Rock left it in the ring and he just took that belt, or he made a custom belt just the same as The Rock. Don't know. But basically got the same belt as The Rock, takes it out and starts whooping Solo and Jimmy to basically allude to what happened last week. I mean, this week that happened on Raw. I mean, I guess, but it doesn't really do anything because you're doing it to Solo and Jimmy, who, no offense, Cody has been soloing Solo and Jimmy this for months. Like anytime there's been like a promo segment which and then Solo and Jimmy interfered, majority of the time Cody kind of solos them. So I don't understand what was the point of bringing that up. I mean, of them doing the whole whooping thing. Plus, even with the belt, I get it to, show what happened to last week, but they hit the ones that whooped you. It was the Rock and Roman. So it would be better if they showed Rock and Roman getting whooped with the belt, but doing it to Solo and Jimmy really doesn't do anything. Okay, they escape the ring. Jimmy tries to escape from the crowd, go to the barricade and try to escape. But Jay gets him, throws him back in the ring, and then Seth whoops him some more. Then Cody gets a microphone. Cody says tomorrow night him and Seth are going to slap The Rock so hard his ego lifts out of his body like his soul that he remembered what it's like to be the people's champ. And we're going to shatter the foundation of the bloodline. And then he proceeds to say, I'm going to dethrone Roman Reigns, and that's your SmackDown. Yeah, nothing really happened on this SmackDown. I'm gonna be honest. You could not watch this SmackDown and you could not really miss out on anything. This SmackDown was the definition of mid. I was very disappointed. And mind you, my expectations was not that high. I just think they could have just executed better. I feel like the KO, Logan Paul, Randy Orton stuff was not funny, not really entertaining. I feel like they could have done better. Logan Paul promo was not good. Karrion Kross and Bobby Lashley, okay vignettes, decent, I guess. This segment with the bloodline that happened in the main event, I mean, wasn't that, I mean, it was okay, I get. Everything basically happened was just, it just feels like filler. This felt like a filler anime episode. Nothing really happened. But I'm still excited for Mania. Mania is going to be a good show. But everything that happened on this SmackDown, you could just miss out on SmackDown. Just watch the highlights, to be honest with you. It just wasn't a good show. This was very mid. This was all filler. The only thing that was really interesting was a potential Carlito heel turn. That was really it. But leave your thoughts, opinions, and make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Yeah, I have nothing else to say about this. But I'm excited for Mania. Yeah, but leave your thoughts, and opinions down below. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe. But yeah, that's it.